Well, g'day legends, and welcome back to the Laptop Lifestyle Dad Show. Hey, this is proudly brought to you by the Los Angeles Tribune Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jeff Ross, proud father of three energetic boys coming to you from the beautiful island of Tasmania, Australia. Hey, this is the show where we help network marketers, affiliate marketers, entrepreneurs, and online legends master AI, attraction marketing, and social selling so you can finally build a business that works for you, not the other way around. A quick pulse check. Does your brand feel like it's fading into the noise? Are you feeling overwhelmed by AI and not sure how to use it effectively? Are you ready to stand out, scale up, and lead with purpose? If so, get ready because today's episode is going to be a rocket-fueled deep dive into the future of branding, leadership, and digital growth. Today, we've joined with none other than Mark de Grasse, CEO of AI Branding Academy and former president of digitalmarketer.com. Yes, digital marketer. Mark has worked with over 120,000 entrepreneurs, helping them build brands, grow audiences, and now harness the power of AI for authentic influence. He's a leader in this space, a marketing powerhouse, a true innovator when it comes to what's next in this space. Mark, welcome to the Laptop Lifestyle Dad Show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jeff.
So, Mark, for our audience, I love to, and personally too, I'd love to get to know you a bit better. So, what's your 2-minute story?
Let's see. I've been in small business or business management for about 20 years. It's been an adventure. I've always worked with smaller businesses, but it's ranged from tech to fitness to marketing, of course. And then now I work a lot with like marketing education. But it's been a 20-year journey. I'm, tired. No, but then I've also built a family in the meantime. So it's been an adventure, but it's, lately, I'm kind of transitioning into again where I started, where when I started in business, it was the early 2000s and the internet was new. And we're basically back there again, where the AI is just as new, if not more game changing than the internet, in my opinion, which is why I spend so much time teaching it now.
Yeah, I love that. And you've also got a podcast yourself. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Sure. Yeah. My podcast, Dads in Autism Land, it was kind of a passion project, but it's rapidly become kind of my most successful brand or fastest growing brand, at least, that I've ever been part of. And it's fantastic because I just get to connect with other dads. I have two sons. My son Damien is 12 and he's severely autistic, nonverbal. And then I have another son, Declan, who's 10 months younger, 11, and he's neurotypical, but very special in his own way. So it's an adventure.
Beautiful. I love how you've turned the circumstance into a purpose and a mission to be able to serve other dads in that space and just connect. Like that's a beautiful heart. My younger son's got ADHD, like right off the Richter scale, and my older son actually got diagnosed with MS. About 18 months. So it's been a journey. Parenting's fun, right?
It is.
So,
Well, it's kind of funny because you never think you're going to be like, oh, am I going to have a special needs child? Like that wasn't something you even think about. You're like, oh no, it's it's just gonna be normal family, whatever you kind of grew up with is your expectation. And then it's really different, but it's not bad. A lot of people think nothing to be pitied.
No, definitely not. I actually like to say it's not necessarily special needs; it's super abilities. Some of our kids with neurodivergence and that sort of thing have got such amazing abilities when you just get past the expectation of what normal should look like, right?
Yeah, well, it's that plus it gives other people an opportunity to grow too. I mean, I think
Yes.
I'm the way I am now because both my sons, but specifically, Damien, who has special needs, has forced me to get out of my shell in so many different ways, and that kind of growth would have been impossible without him around.
Yeah, well said. Cool. All right, let's get back into AI and branding. So, Mark, you've spent years at the forefront of digital marketing. Like one of the early pioneers. I got into it in 2010, and I still feel like sometimes I was a late adopter getting in. But man, this AI space, like it's fun, it's cutting edge. So what inspired you to launch AI Branding Academy, and how do you see it impacting the branding space in the next 12 to 24 months?
There's some industries where AI is going to be extremely pivotal, and marketing is one of those, where a lot of the tasks that you do as a marketer aren't necessarily because, that's your expertise. You're an awesome strategist. You're an awesome, at analytics, all
Mm,
these different things. Most of the job is just repetitive work, and
yep.
what I saw with AI was I was like, oh my gosh, this tool can do so much of the stuff that doesn't add to the act of marketing, but has to get done. And so I
Mm.
really saw for my industry specifically, I'm like, this is going to be a game changer. This is going to revolutionize the way we do it. And what I saw was that branding was the essential component that's actually missing from most people's marketing programs, but it's going to be increasingly vital as AI starts taking over everything else.
Well, I can totally relate to that. As I said, I've been in the game since 2010 and I've read all the books, Story Brand, .com Secrets, I was actually a certified partner with digitalmarketer.com for a
Oh,
little
nice.
while there. So, I've done all the courses, I've done all the training, but one of the areas that I personally struggled and I always had to outreach, delegate was around branding and copywriting. In
Yep.
this last 2, 3 years, I've been able to just go do that myself now, and really, launched the laptop lifestyle dads like the caffeinated kangaroo, that I have on my logo. That was inspired by AI. I basically got it to say I needed to come up with a fresh, exciting, phrase to share how excited I am, not just be cliche like I'm fired up, I'm pumped up, I'm excited. Like, so I gave it, AI a bit of a prompt, and I mimicked, Steve Irwin, Crikey's Terry. Look at this marvelous specimen. And it came up with I'm as excited as a caffeinated kangaroo bouncing on a trampoline. So
That's
the
great.
caffeinated kangaroo was born off the back of that, and the creativity and the energy and the uniqueness of that brand has just elevated everything over the last couple of years, and that's all thanks to AI. So that's what you're talking about, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and further than that, like what I saw when I worked, because I worked in a lot of different positions with the market. I was marketing manager, marketing director, fractional CMO, had my own agency. So I've been through all the things within marketing.
Mm,
And the biggest issue I always had was that we were always working from scratch. You go into a business, you're like, hey, I'm going to
mm,
do your marketing. And then it's like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And it had nothing to do with the brand most of the time. Even if, say, you hire like a social media company, and I saw this over and over again, where somebody hires a social media company, hey, do my social media. I don't care what you do, just go do stuff. And so the
mm,
social media company has to say, okay, well, you're not giving me a guideline, so I guess I'll just do my best. And then they get fired, and this is why you see this churn constantly happening in
yep.
marketing. So what I recognized with AI was, no, this is our chance to be more on brand, to be more consistent than any time in history, because it's not up to a person making decisions all the time. It's just,
Mm,
hey, what's my brand like? Let me set up my brand parameters. And now AI can tell me what to do when it comes to building my website, when it comes to doing a marketing campaign, when it comes to setting up your booth for a trade show or a million different marketing tasks. It's not a, hey, let's do a brainstorming session. It's a, hey, let's look at our brand, what we're trying to achieve, and just have AI tell us based on those parameters, what should we do? So for like and I love the imagery of what you've done, and it says a ton about what your podcast is. Now you can just take those elements and say, hey, how do I do a press release that's on brand based on these branding parameters? And how do I do an
mm,
ad campaign? And how do I do a social post? And then all of these touch points that would have been lost because they were outsourced to somebody else and then custom to that individual doing stuff are now centralized in one spot. And now we could do consistent marketing or consistent branding like you see Nike do, or you see
yep.
Tesla, or you see
Yeah.
Amazon, or these big companies that have either a crazy person in charge that doesn't let anybody go off brand, or billions of dollars. And then you just have resources to make it happen. So AI
Brilliant.
it makes that available to everybody.
Yeah, well, I've just been engaged as the head of tech for the Los Angeles Tribune, and now sitting down with them and falling back on my experience there with Brian and digital marketer around the customer value journey and doing the audits and all of that sort of thing. Man, what I used to take me feel like days to go and do a deep dive audit, I can now do in the matter of mere minutes. And but not just that, like it's now like giving me a second brain to be able to bring in things that I would never even thought of as that strategist, as the to pull it all together. and give us a cohesive, 3-6 month plan to roadmap it out, and then just get into build phase. And this is where I say AIs plus our heart equals our superpower, right?
Mhm.
I don't ever feel
Yep.
like AI is going to be a complete replacement. We definitely need to keep the human in the loop. But let's talk about that. What are your thoughts around, AI and, replacement versus leverage and amplification and all of that?
I usually describe it as robot work versus human work. And
Mm,
robot work is stuff that robots are good at. So it's pattern
mm,
recognition, it's information organization, it's tracking, it's all programmed junk. And the problem is that we, the humans, have been being the program. So
mm-hmm,
we've been acting like robots when we're doing data entry, when we're copying and pasting something
mm.
from here and putting it
The
over
boring
here.
stuff.
And the boring crap. Nothing is
Yeah.
being added by a human being involved. Actually, most of the time, something's being taken away because
Mm,
the human gets tired. The human's bored. The human
yeah.
doesn't have enough time. And so those things that have to happen, even though they're super boring process crap, gets lost. Now, what
Mm,
humans are good at is what I call human work. It's being creative, it's relationship management, it's being innovative, trying to come up with new ways to do stuff. That's what keeps us entertained. That's what makes us happy. And essentially, what AI is doing is it's just taking away the robot work. You can assign an AI people work, but the result's going to be crap most of the time. And, what do you want people to do? It's not,
yeah.
AI isn't people. And even if it got, let's say they got epically great, it still doesn't have your life experience. It still doesn't
Yeah.
have your ability to see relationships where no relationship between, say, information exists. Like that's what we're good at. And AI is essentially just freeing us to do the fun stuff.
Yeah, I love the distinction, robot versus human work. That's so there is a place for it to come in and be a replacement, but you've got to discern where that place is, right?
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not everywhere. It's funny because
No.
a lot of people go straight to customer care, like, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta fire my customer care reps. It's like, you're insane. That's the person that's talking to the person giving you money. That's the
Yeah.
closest touch point you have, and you just assigned it to a robot. Like, are you
Yeah.
nuts? So that's why I'm like, no, assign that to your admin. Like, if you want to get rid of people, not that I advocate for firing anybody, but look at the admins.
No,
Like, who's doing
empower your admin
not
and give them
much?
the tools to be able to lift up. Yeah, I get it. And so it's
Yeah,
high
well, and then
tech.
put your money in the customer care reps. Like, get better, give them
Yes.
raises, like make them so excited to work in customer care that they keep all of your customers around. Because the other effect of AI is going to be ad rates going higher and higher because it's going to get easier and easier for people to
Yeah, the
run
competition's
ads.
going to be
And
increased.
competition is
Yeah,
going to be up. Yep.
we're already
So it's
seeing
all
it.
connected.
Yeah. No, I love that, but it's high tech, but high human touch still as well. Like it's not just trying to, you know, get rid of one and replace the other. I think it's elevating both for sure.
Yeah. Well, and the problem is that we've, especially big business, and you look like insurance companies or healthcare or things like that, where it's just like they try to automate these things that should have been human, and it has been catastrophic
Mm,
for the
mm.
industry. And now everybody's sick, or they're dying, or they're going bankrupt. I think it's I forget the stat, so don't quote me on this, but it's something like 30 or 40% of bankruptcies are due to medical bills, and it's just like,
Mm.
what, to stay alive?
Yeah.
Like, this is nuts.
Yeah. Well, look, I was forced onto a disability pension here in Australia at the age of 30. I had a horse jump on my neck. I got 3 crushed discs in the back of my neck, my
Oh.
shoulders buggered, the nerve damage. And so that's why I got into the whole online marketing world in the first place, because I had to figure out a way to make money from, working from my computer, working from home. And so, yeah, I can totally relate to that whole journey. So coming back to the AI, robot versus human conversation, I, in a world like, and I love what you're touching on here. It's essentially it's the ethical conversation. It's keeping the human in the loop where it needs to be kept in the loop, but looking for those admin, those mundane bottleneck tasks to look at, leveraging AI in those places. But in a world that, talking about branding especially, I feel like we're at a point in the world where trust as a resource is at extremely low points, because we've been scammed, we've been pitched, we've been sold, just about everything and anything online these days. So what are your thoughts around, especially around AI, where trust is sort of like, on that that precipice. How do we maintain trust? How do we maintain transparency? How do we maintain that human connection when AI is writing copy, it's generating content, it's running workflows? Like, how do we continue to build on that trust and maintain it?
It comes back to why I got into branding. It's consistency and it's constant execution of whatever your brand mission is. And what you'll find with most brands is that they're extremely inconsistent. People don't know what you do.
Uh-huh.
They don't know what you're all about. And so you can't trust that. You don't know enough. And so AI essentially makes it easier to maintain that consistency. But then you get the other issue where it's like, is it real? If you look at, all the alien stuff online, you're just like, crap.
Terminator or Terminator.
Oh, not the Terminator, but I just mean like there's UFOs everywhere and all these crazy things, and you're like, I don't know if that's real anymore because I could generate any of those things using Runway or a million different tools really instantly. So what's happening is you're having the trust in the information is constantly eroding, and it's going to get worse because AI keeps on getting better. So I tell people that's why your networking matters and that's why your content matters. Because if you maintain the consistency with your content and instead of focusing on how do I trick people into buying my product, and instead how do I educate my people so they understand that they're my ideal customer and I have the ideal solution, then now they can trust you because you've educated them on the process. You haven't tricked them into doing anything, and now you're more it's all consistent.
And this is the crux behind it all. This is where I wanted to get to, right? It's the intent, it's the purpose behind the use of the tool. And I find if your business and your company, your brand is mission focused, like it's servanthood leadership, it's getting out there and creating a greater good, an impact, a legacy, type company, then you're going to look for ways to be able to support that conversation. And AI is a brilliant tool to be able to support you in that space. But if you're all about just about the sale, if you're all about just the transaction, then you're going to look for ways to use AI to essentially manipulate the conversation, right? And so, like, take AI out of the equation. This has been happening for centuries anyway with, regards to sales. And it all comes back down to the heart and the purpose, the intent behind it. And that was really why I wanted to, I'm having these conversations with people like yourself, is just to really explore this deeply, to be able to help people to come to that understanding so they can be empowered and equipped to leverage AI as a beautiful tool.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, it has gone on for a while, like the bad marketing, but it got really bad when the internet came around. Because what happened was everybody got really dependent on paid media, where it was basically like, hey, I don't have to have a good product. I don't have to do good customer care. I'm just going to plow it in paid media. I'm going to get new customers all the time. And because paid media was cheaper, I could be profitable and I don't need to give a crap about my customer. But because, again, ad rates are increasing, and honestly, everybody's tired of crummy stuff. I always use washers and dryers as the example because I seem to go through them every 3 years. I have kids and autism is very messy. So I use it quite a bit. But I remember my parents' washer and dryer was the same washer and dryer from like 1983 until the year 2000. Yeah. And then you give it away or you sell it because it's still a good machine. But what's happened is because there's been this, the profit engine has just gone through the roof because of paid media, and you could track everything back to it. We just let everything else go away. We said F customer care, F product quality, F all these things, because I'll just go get new customers. So what I think this is going to do, since now, one, everybody's tired of buying cheap crap that breaks all the time, and two, ads are getting so expensive that you might not even be able to be profitable on the initial sale. Now it's going to get back to, okay, well, how do I make a good product so that people, find it good and recommend it to people? How do I give enough care so they could use the product to the best of its ability, and then they're, infatuated so they come back again? How do I innovate a new product so they're not just, hey, you got to replace this piece of crap I sold you, but hey, this one's 10 times better and will last 10 times longer. And that's how you get new sales through innovation. So I think the whole situation is going to lead to good products and services again, and a return to how business used to be done.
Come back to the 1950s. I actually quite like that. And it sort of strikes a chord with what I've been I feel like I've been touching on anyway, so for a while, and you've just confirmed it for me. I really believe that the future of marketing is going to be like ambassadorship type marketing, where we get affiliates and influencers to really represent us, but they're not going to want to get behind us. Excuse me, they're not going to want to get behind us if we're marketing crap, because it's their reputation, it's their, influence behind it, and all that sort of thing to, build that trust factor, right? And I'm seeing it in Asia already. Like there's companies in China, with one influencer, did a 12-hour live and he done $1.7 billion in sales. Selling makeup of all products, like this guy.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the major end of it. But what I believe is the future of marketing here in this space is the micro, the nano influencer, the one who's only got about maybe 1,000 followers or 10,000 followers. And, that's what I'm all about at the moment, is equipping and empowering, mums and dads in this space to be able to help them to monetize their social media. But once again, coming back to brands, the companies now is going to be forced to get back to good products that are quality, lasting products, because that's what people want to, promote. They want to, be a product of the product, right? So I don't know. What are your thoughts about this? And coming around to it, how do we future-proof our brands and our businesses? What would you say are some of the 1 to 2 things that business owners need to focus on right now?
I think you got to get your brand down, and your brand, figuring out your brand is not, hey, let me bring all my people in and let's have a chat and let's vote on it. It's like, no, we're not running democracies here, or most
Yeah.
businesses are not
It's
and they
have
shouldn't
leadership.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be a leader. And honestly, that's why we when we were making a new brand, we always say you go with the vision first, like that before you do anything, even the brand name. Like you figure out the vision, and the vision
I
isn't
love that.
just like, I want to save the world. We qualify with 2 specific elements. It needs to be quantifiable and it needs to be ambitious, because if you don't have those 2 factors in a vision, it's not going to be big enough to encompass the objectives of your employees. Because what happens is if you just say like, oh, well, I want to make $1 million, like, I don't care about
Too
with the
wishy-washy.
boss making $1 million. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't do anything for me. And I also don't care about, oh, we're going to save the world. That's great. You want to do that, but it doesn't mean anything. What does mean something is, hey, we're going to change the face of marketing by elevating the brand, by certifying 20,000 new marketers in the use of AI by 2027. Like, okay, now you start to get the idea, like, wow, that's ambitious. 20,000, that's a big number. I know when it's going to be, and I know the point behind it. Elevate the marketing profession. So now you know everything. And now if I hire somebody and they're like, well, I want to be, I want marketing to be more more honest. Okay, that fits within my objective. That elevates the brand. And so when you start with vision, now you can start to program. Now your slogan comes easy. Now that your mission statement comes easy. Now your core values come easy. And it's not this like, oh, let's brainstorm and put a circle in the middle of the whiteboard and put some post-it notes and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, that's not the job. I'm specifying the brand. This is the brand. And now using AI, I could feed my brand information to it. And now all my decisions get made. How should we onboard employees? Well, let's ask AI based on your core value of elevating the marketing profession. You need people who are honest. You need people who are hardworking. You need people, blah, 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 blah. Oh, look, now it's easier to hire. It's easier to run my social media campaigns. It's easier to make graphics. Everything could be derived from this information. So that's where it starts. It's, laying down your brand right now. And you don't change it. That's the other trick. Because another thing I see entrepreneurs do. Yeah. They oh, well, you know what? Things aren't working. Let me change the brand name. Let me change the logo. And it's like, you just shot everything you've done in the past.
Again. Yeah.
Starting over again. But the fact of the matter is, when you assign these tasks of value creation and mission and all these things, when you assign them to other people who aren't the founder, now you just assigned your branding to your HR manager, who's going to make that manual based on what they think it should be. And your social media manager is going to do social media the way they think it should be. And so now you just diluted the brand, and essentially you're creating 50 brands at the same time. And it's all inconsistent.
Yeah.
Well, it's all because, the fact of the matter, if you don't specify the guidelines for your social media manager and you just say like, you know what, I don't know TikTok, just do TikTok. I don't care. Now it's going to be based on whether, Cindy got, her coffee spilled on her shirt in the morning. Now she's angry. Now she's mad at the barista. And now she does a post that's based on that. It's not based on the campaign. It's not based on the mission of the business. It's based on, I'm sour today, so I'm gonna let
Yeah.
that influence everything. And the truth of the matter is that happens with owners too. You're making emotional decisions based on your personal finances, on your, situation with your car. Like you're making bad decisions all the time because we're human and that's how we are. But if you can maintain that brand and build everything off of it, now it doesn't matter if you have a bad day. It doesn't matter if you lose your social media manager or your HR manager or whatever happens, because the brand is the brand. It's
Yeah.
there. And so this is how you future proof your business. And then you combine that with content creation. And if you want to, I could go into my Web3 theory on how all this stuff is going to come together into crypto and NFTs. But you're building an actual brand that has value and can be transferred in the future.
I'll tell you what, I think we've got to get you back for a round two. And what's actually coming to mind here is putting myself in the bit of a hot seat here and say, bring in a couple of my brands that I've got that I'm working on and just get your expert opinion if you're open to that. And I think that'd be great for the audience to, to hear some of that sort of micro level coaching. Because my wife and I, we just started an online church 12 months ago. And we hosted one of our first online baptisms about November
That's
last
cool.
year. So the guy was up in Queensland, I was down in Tasmania, and we did it all virtually via Zoom. It was a pretty amazing experience. So our mission essentially is to transform the one through Jesus' love. And our vision is just simply to help people to learn how to love themselves, love God, and love others, and to help others to do the same thing. So that we've called the whole church to today's discipleship community. So I'm just thinking that would be a great entity, like a great brand, to help you to maybe come in and do a round two series here and do some micro hot seat coaching if you're up for that.
Oh, that sounds like a blast. Yes,
I think it'd be a lot of fun. But let's no hold
terrible.
back. No hold back. Like, let's get into it. Gordon Ramsay style. Gordon Ramsay style.
The funny part is like, because that would still be personal, like my personal opinion. So what we do at the Academy is we have assessment tools where we're basically like, okay, here's what we said is good branding. And we built an AI tool where you just plug in.
I love that.
And I base most things off your website because I'm like, you can say your brand is all these things, but at the end of the day, people are going to your website first if they want to learn more about your brand. So if that isn't on brand, then you've already failed everywhere else as far as I'm concerned. So we have a tool where you could just go to the website and do this. It's just put in your website and then you get a score. And it just says, based on our branding parameters, your score is this. And then
That's brilliant.
Now we just took the opinion out of it because I could be, again, I could have a bad day.
Take the emotion out of it. The emotion out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's where you can get consistent and where now, because we always doubt ourselves, right? We're like, well, I don't know if this is on brand. I don't know if this is going to register with my customer and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, just ask AI, and we teach that too, where we say, okay, here's your customer avatar. This is the ideal person for the service that you're offering. What do they think about this? And then we build an AI that's powered by all of your customer avatar, parameters. And now you just ask, hey, customer avatar, or hey, ideal customer, what do you think of this post? And it's like, hey, that's crap and doesn't register with me. And here's why. And now all these questions you have are now gone. They're not gone, but you get an honest opinion that's not, you asking your buddy, like, hey, what do you think of this, John? John loves you. He's like, oh, that's great, Jeff. I love this. You nailed it.
Yeah. AI is biased and it's there to keep you happy, right?
Yeah, well, their opinion of you is not a stranger's opinion of you. And even if you went to a stranger and you said, hey, what do you think of this? You're still you. They'll still base their judgment on you personally. And so AI basically makes this kind of mass market testing automatic and really easy to trust.
Yeah, no, I love it. Well, I think we could talk all day about this topic, but we're going to wrap it up. So thank you very much, Mark. It's been an absolute pleasure. You've dropped some amazing gold here on the mic today. So before we go, where can our people find you? How can they connect with Mark and check out everything that you're doing and building with AI Branding Academy?
Sure. The website's the best place, aibranding.academy. If you want to learn more about me, I have my own, I have another podcast and I have a magazine. I have all these things for just the stuff that I do. I do a lot of consulting and content creation for other companies. That's just markdegrasse.com.
Thank you very much, Mark. So legends, if you've got value from this one, I know I did, and I'm geeking out already, and I can't wait to get Mark to come back for that round 2. Hey, make sure that you subscribe on your favorite platform. You can find us on Apple, Spotify. We're also hosted and in partnership with the Los Angeles Tribune Podcast Network. Make sure that you drop a comment with your biggest takeaway from today's discussion, and go and tag a mate who needs to hear this one too. And now we're going to wrap up, Mark. I did warn you. We're going to wrap up with a dad joke. So I've been asking chat.
Loaded.
You loaded. Awesome. Well, I've actually been asking Chatty to help me to come up with some ammunition, and tell you what, some of the parameters I put into it was make sure the dad joke is absolutely cringeworthy, right? It's not a dad joke unless it's cringeworthy. So here's what here's Chatty's one on the topic of AI and branding. So why don't branding experts use AI in the kitchen? Because it keeps automating the seasoning.
That's pretty good.
Good one.
Oh,
Chatty.
I thought I was going to tell one. Do you mind if I tell one?
Yeah, let's go. I love it when other people share theirs too.
All right. If people in the U.S. smile, does that mean that people in Australia scalometer?
Oh, that's a gold one. I'm going to have to tell my boys that one.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, no, love that one.
Mark, thank you very much, mate. For our legends listening in, stay caffeinated, stay legendary, and remember, you were born to lead. This is Jeffrey Ross signing off.